Welcome to the Coaching Closet. I'm your host, Richele. Have you ever put together an outfit that was just right, making you feel amazing from head to toe? It takes thought, planning, and effort to create that perfect look. In life, it's the same. It's like a unique puzzle with individual pieces that we must pay attention to in order for everything to work together. If something is missing, it's like walking out of the house with no pants on. Are you ready to piece together your puzzle of life? Let's go. Hi, welcome back to the Coaching Closet. I'm so glad you've joined me again today. I'm going to begin a series of episodes on relationships that has to do with dating, and it's going to be about toxic symptoms of red flags that you may not know about or you might have heard about, but I'm going to break them down for you into different categories. And it's going to be things you can see in other people when you are dating and also things you can see in yourself. So today the topic is about love bombing. And this is something that if you've ever looked into toxic behaviors, you may have heard about it, but a lot of people don't know what it is. And they can kind of get swept into this fairy tale like romance. And then they find out later that it's a manipulation technique and it's not so much fun. What love bombing is, it's a real overly intense attention when you first meet somebody. It's over the top. It's excessive everything, really. Constant attention, never-ending compliments, kind of being swept off of your feet. And it can be fun and exciting. It's really crazy because in the movies we see, got like 90 minutes to watch a movie, maybe 2 hours. And in those movies, we go from start to finish and we see people fall in love. Sometimes they're even married by the end of the movie and having kids. And so it's like just normal for us to feel like things should kind of move fast in the beginning of a relationship. And also, it's normal to have a honeymoon phase, and some relationships do begin rather quickly. But when it's like in the first week or two of something new and things are just over the top to the point where you feel like you can't really even get anything else done, you can't think about anything else, it can be completely toxic and it can be a sign that something's wrong. And so what I want to do in this series is really help you to tune into your intuition. And intuition is different than thinking logically, but it's important that you don't get really swept away with just all the fun of it and really take a step back and look at what's actually happening. And so trusting yourself, learning to trust your gut when you're like, something might be off here, this doesn't seem normal, is what I want you to do and what I want you to think about. So just asking yourself the questions and then asking them the questions. So, if someone's doing something, say, just asking them questions and being brave enough to bring something up. The first thing is it's over attention. It's too much. It's too much too soon, I guess, you would say, because it's inappropriate attention for the amount of time you've known the person. And so it's like tons and tons of texting, messages over and over and calls, and just sometimes you get to know somebody and you do spend hours on the phone at first. So I get that. But like, it's just over abundance and overly everything. And it's also excessive compliments, which of course, some of that's a little bit normal, but it's just to the point where you might sit and ask yourself, like, are you for real? Like, it's kind of feels like flattery instead of true compliments. Like the person may not even know you well enough to be able to compliment you in that way, if that makes sense. Another thing that will be done if it's toxic love bombing is mirroring. The person will mirror everything that you say. And so when you're getting to know someone and you're talking about your commonalities and your interests, it'll seem like you have every single thing in common. And a lot of times you will have things in common, but if every single thing is the same, it may seem like, wait a minute, like, how is this even possible? Like, your favorite food is their favorite food. Your favorite music's their favorite music, and that kind of thing. In the beginning, it's kind of important not to just divulge every deep, dark secret or everything that you know about yourself to the person, so that get to know them a little bit before you tell them everything, because then they can just mirror everything back to you. And that's another tactic if they are indeed manipulating you in this way. And then it's obvious, like if this goes on for a while and you do get caught up into it and talk of like moving in together really fast, it's kind of like some people think maybe this is like a no-brainer. Like, well, of course I wouldn't move in with someone after a few weeks, but you'd be surprised. People will talk about doing that or, getting married after a month or 6 weeks or even 2 months or something like that. They'll get engaged. So that can be another sign of it. And then claims of being a soulmate after a very short amount of time and neediness, not respecting boundaries. Like if you say, you're going to go out with your friends, you're going to do something different, they're going to have to, maybe entertain themselves or find something else to do. And they're not okay with that. That's just not going over well. That's another sign. And then kind of an uneasy feeling within yourself, just not feeling like this is right. You need to trust that. That's your intuition. They also might lavish you with gifts, over the top gestures, dozens of bouquets of flowers instead of one, or expensive plane tickets for a vacation, or not taking no for an answer when you're like, no, I don't think that's appropriate. Or no, just maybe an expensive piece of jewelry or a watch or something like that. They like to gain control and kind of create a sense of obligation on your part so that you owe them something back. And then constant praise can also make your head spin. So, they compliment you and say things like, I love everything about you, and I've never met anyone as perfect as you, and I just want to spend all my time with you, and, just constantly. So like individually, those phrases don't necessarily on their own, they're not necessarily harmful, but all together, all of these things together could be a big sign that you're being love bombed. So, it's something to pay attention to because it could be a sign of toxicity. So this doesn't last forever. This phase of the relationship, if you stay, lasts until they begin to devalue you, which is another stage of it actually ends up in abusive situation, which is at least emotional abuse. So you can tell if they're love bombing you, if they're just doing a lot of these things all together, and it's really about control and creating dependency, and they're idealizing you. And so they may actually believe these things that they're saying to you, but they're seeing you as an object and as kind of like property, something that benefits them instead of a separate person that they're wanting to create a partnership with or relationship with. Constant compliments, to recap, bombarding you with gifts. Maybe the relationship feels really, really intense and unbalanced, and then they expect a lot of attention. They're not respecting boundaries. They don't really take no for an answer. And they use the term soulmate a lot, that you're perfect. They're going to push for a commitment early in the relationship. They feel needy. There's lots and lots of communication to the point where you might feel like you don't get anything else done. There's probably a lot of PDA, physically, a lot of stuff online and things like that. And you might feel like you need to tread lightly in this situation. So if you're feeling like you might be being love bombed, you can try to set clear and healthy boundaries, maybe refuse the gifts, limit the time you spend together, and just respond to the text at your own pace, and then kind of communicate that you don't want to rush into things, and then see how they respond. And if they respond in a healthy way, then that's probably a really good sign. Because sometimes it's not necessarily that, but you just want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence, because it could go south really quickly if that indeed is what's happening. So just know that it doesn't always happen like it does in the movies. In fact, very, very rarely. And if it does, or if it is, it could be a sign of toxicity. So we will be talking about more toxic things next time so that you can be aware and on your guard and educated. Please come find me in my Facebook community called The Coaching Closet, and follow me on Instagram at Coaching Closet. And I look forward to being back with you next week. Thank you for joining me today on The Coaching Closet. My hope is that with each episode, you will discover, like an amazing puzzle, all of the unique pieces in your life fit together to create the beautiful image of you. If you find this podcast to be helpful and would like to share with others, please do me a quick favor and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This helps to make the podcast more visible. Thanks again for spending your time with me today. Be sure to visit me at coachingcloset.com for past episodes and gifts to help you find your beauty from the inside out.